In 2019, I set up an organization I named Save Our Hospitals. This gave me a wide open window of opportunity to see the healthcare system up close and very personal. I became an accidental investigative journalist, something that I had not set out to become. I learned that all Zimbabwe's 6 central hospitals only needed $50 million US to run efficiently without shortages. Yet, doctors and nurses had no gloves, and up to now, they still don't have the gloves. There was and still is no medication in our hospitals. I just tweeted yesterday that one of the big 5 hospitals could not even give a patient paracetamol as of yesterday, or MMT. It's not available, yet this is one of the big 5 hospitals in my country. The amount of money being looted every month in smuggled gold alone could run all central hospitals for 2 years without any shortages. The ZANU-PF political elites loot $100 million US every month. Our hospitals, the central hospitals, require only $50 million. So what they are stealing in a month can run the central hospitals in 2 years. That is the absurdity of how corrupt the regime has become. When COVID hit in January 2020, I started using Twitter and Facebook to expose how the government had destroyed our public health care. Everyone was terrified. I was terrified of dying too. And it was so terrifying that to see a government behaving in the way they were behaving, one had to do something about it. When I started using Twitter and Facebook to expose how the government had destroyed our public health care system, which led to a local politician organizing an anti-corruption march, I became public enemy number 1. On the 20th of July, 2020, 7 officers armed with AK-47s came to my home, broke the French door leading to my dining room, and dragged me out of the house, walking barefoot on top of broken glass. I was denied bail twice, and I spent 45 days in prison. They looked for a convenient charge and said that I had incited public violence. Most dictatorships use that charge when you have done nothing. After I left prison in September, I learned that the president's niece was caught trying to smuggle 6 kilograms of gold at the international airport, trying to smuggle it to Dubai. But because she's part of the ruling elite, the National Prosecution Authority was planning to give her bail unopposed. I exposed this corrupt deal online, and a couple of days later, there was another knock again on my door. I was arrested again. Initially, they said I'd broken my bail conditions for the first charge of my pending case, but in police custody, they changed the charge and said I'd obstructed justice, more like I'd obstructed corruption. She was indeed offered bail unopposed, as I had said in my tweet, but the courts intervened probably out of embarrassment that I had reported about it. I spent another 23 days in prison for this without trial, and the charge is still pending 17 months later because the state has failed to bring the case to trial. Their excuse every day is that we are waiting for Twitter to respond. What they didn't know is we had already conducted Twitter, and we exposed in the courts that if you conduct Twitter as a government, that message you sent to them is logged on their website, but it's not there. But because the judicial officers themselves have become part of that capture, they don't care about the evidence. They listen to instructions that are coming from politicians, from the top. But I refuse to be silenced. In Zimbabwe, arrest is a tool of persecution used to silence journalists, critics, and the opposition. We must hold the corrupt to account for their actions. Perhaps with my little efforts, I will leave Zimbabwe a better place than what it was when I came into it. As a society, as Africans, we were brought up to believe that when we came into this world, we found it the way it was. When we leave, we must leave it a better place. Thank you very much.